Leon Olguin here, and welcome to At Home with Music. And what I want to talk to you about in this video is why you should forget your piano lessons. Now, it's quite possible that many of you that are watching this video took piano lessons at some point in your childhood, or maybe you even tried to take piano lessons when you were an adult. And I have met a lot of people who took piano lessons and then quit because they got frustrated with it, or they got bored with it, or they didn't feel like they were making any real progress. I took traditional piano lessons starting when I had just turned 12 years old. And I was taught in what you might call the traditional way. I learned how to read the treble clef and the bass clef. And the treble clef, of course, was for the right hand, and the bass clef was for the left hand. And I had to learn to read the notes exactly as they appeared in the sheet music without hitting any wrong notes. And then I had to play them at the right speed and at the right volume and learn when to slow down or speed up or get louder or get softer. It was a very exacting discipline, taking traditional piano lessons. Now, I was very fortunate in that I kept with it, I stuck with it, and then eventually I learned how to play by ear, and I became interested in learning how music worked. And so I learned about chords, and I first began to study music theory in high school. And that class, for some reason, was not called music theory, it was called harmony. And so I started to learn about chords and scales and all these different types of things. And then I studied music theory in college, and along the way, I learned how to play in the style that I now teach people how to play in. You see, a lot of folks who take traditional piano lessons become very good at reading music, and it is a valuable skill that I encourage every musician to at least get a grasp of, how to read notes. But then you take their music away, and they can't play anything. And that's the frustration that a lot of people have who have taken traditional piano lessons in the past. The method that I teach is not a shortcut. It's not a gimmick. It's a different approach to learning the piano and learning music. You do learn to read notes. That's part of it. You can't get away from that. But mainly what I'm teaching you, besides learning to read notes in the treble clef, is you learn about chords and how they go together. You learn how to make beautiful sounds at the keyboard right away. And you learn how to play any song that you want to play. Now, the method that I teach doesn't necessarily work if you want to play classical music. That's where the traditional piano lessons come in. However, the method that I teach will actually help you if you are also wanting to study classical music. Knowing how music works, knowing how chords go together, how melodies are constructed, is a tremendous help when you're studying classical music. But most people who take piano want to play songs that they want to play. They want to have fun. They want to play the popular songs of the day, or maybe they're in church and they want to play worship songs or hymns. They want to be part of the worship band. And only knowing how to play classical music by reading the notes off of sheet music, that's not going to be of much help to you. And that's where the method that I teach enables you to play in all those different styles. You'll learn how to play by ear. You'll learn how to improvise. Basically, what I'm teaching are the building blocks of music. We're laying a musical foundation that will enable you to play in many different styles and enable you to improvise and basically play any song that you want to play. Maybe you've heard some of the stories of like these really great guitarists, rock guitarists, somebody like Van Halen, or I can't think of any others because I'm not a guitar player, but you probably know some famous guitar players. And many of them learned how to play, not by reading notes out of a book, but they listened to people whose style they admired, and they said, I want to learn how to play like that. And so they'd get their records, you remember records, those vinyl things, they'd put them on the turntable and slow the speed down so that it was going at half speed, and they'd listen very carefully to the notes that were being played, and they would imitate. They would learn by ear what those people were doing, and then they would figure out the fingering and just make it part of their muscle memory, and they'd eventually get it down. And then over time, with experience and getting out and playing in front of people, they developed their own style. And then other people might imitate them from their records. Now, interestingly enough, a great many of these famous rock musicians, pop musicians, can't read music. Some of them, however, can. And I always encourage any musician that I work with to learn how to read music, at least to the point where you can figure out a lead sheet. A lead sheet, as you might remember, is just the melody written out, just the one-note melody with the chord symbols. And so you learn how to play the chords from the symbols, and you can play them any way that sounds good to you. And then somebody else might be singing the melody, or an instrument might be playing the melody, or you might be playing it yourself and then figuring out how to play everything, chords and melody, together. Now, if you want to learn classical, once you've built that musical foundation, the traditional lessons can come after that, and you'll have a head start. Now, I'm talking to you as a homeschool mom or as a homeschool teacher. When you're teaching your children the keyboard basics, as you go through my Music Basics series here at Home with Music, it takes you one step at a time, and it goes through the method that I have described here. Your kids will learn to read the treble clef. They can learn the bass clef later. But for now, all they need to know is the treble clef. They need to know what the chord symbols mean, how to play the different chords, and I teach them all the different basic chords. There's only 36 of them. And once you learn those, you're well on your way to being able to play any song in any key. And that's what you'll be able to teach your children as you follow through the Music Basics series. So you need to forget your piano lessons. And I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, of course. You don't literally want to forget. But you'll find that some of the things you learned in your traditional piano lessons will apply to this method. And some of it you leave behind. You're not worried now about perfection. You're more concerned about teaching an overall knowledge of how music works. And so it's basically a little bit of keyboard, a little bit of music theory, a little bit of ear training. It's all there. And so I just wanted to let you know that that's the method that we teach here at Home with Music. And I hope that you'll be able to make good use of it in your home school. If you have any questions about this or any concerns, you can leave a comment below, or you can contact me directly at homewithmusic.com. You can contact me through the website, and I will definitely get back to you. So thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful for you. Please be sure to like the video because that helps the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also spread the word about At Home with Music. If you know any other homeschool families that would be interested in this content, let them know and encourage them to subscribe as well. I appreciate all your support, and I'll talk to you in the next one.